Today, we're diving into a Reddit thread that asks one of the most terrifying questions you can face in Dungeons & Dragons. D&D players, what is the closest call your party had to a TPK, total party kill, that you managed to get away from? For those who don't know, a TPK is the absolute worst-case scenario. It's when every single player character dies, the campaign ends, and the Dungeon Master has to sit there in awkward silence while everyone packs up their dice. But sometimes, against all odds, a player pulls a rabbit out of a hat, bends the rules of physics, or uses a completely forgotten item to save the day at the absolute last second. Grab your character sheets, because here are 4 of the most insane, galaxy-brain TPK escapes we found online. Story 1. The Dust of Dryness Nuke. I was playing a halfling rogue in a 5th level party. We were exploring a sunken temple when our paladin stepped on a pressure plate. Instantly, solid stone slabs slammed down over the only exit, and water started pouring in from grates in the ceiling. To make matters worse, the water wasn't just water, it formed into a massive CR5 water elemental. Now, fighting a water elemental is hard enough, but fighting one in a rapidly flooding 20 by 20 foot room is a death sentence. By round 3, the water was up to our chests. The elemental had critically hit our wizard, knocking him completely unconscious, and our paladin missed 3 attacks in a row because of the water resistance. Then, the elemental used its Wail mobility. It literally surged forward and absorbed our fighter and our cleric into its body. They were trapped inside the monster, suffocating and taking bludgeoning damage every turn. It was just me left standing, the rogue with 12 hit points. The water was touching the ceiling. Everyone was either unconscious or drowning. A TPK was guaranteed on the next turn. I looked desperately at my inventory sheet, praying for a miracle, and then I saw it. A pinch of dust of dryness. We had brought this obscure magic item in Session 2 and completely forgot about it. For those who don't know, a single pinch of this dust instantly absorbs up to 150 gallons of water, turning it into a tiny marble. On my turn, I didn't attack. I deliberately swam directly into the water elemental. I failed the strength save on purpose to let it swallow me. The DM laughed, thinking I was just accepting death. But once I was inside the beast, surrounded by my drowning party members, I pulled the pouch of dust from my belt and released it into the elemental's core. The DM stopped laughing. He frantically opened the monster manual. A water elemental is literally made of water. I had just unleashed a magical sponge capable of absorbing 150 gallons directly inside its physical body. The DM decided that the dust instantly absorbed the monster's entire being. The elemental evaporated into a tiny, harmless marble that dropped into my palm. With the monster gone, the water level dropped just enough for us to breathe. I stabilized the party with 1 hit point left. We literally survived by the skin of our teeth because of pocket sand. Story 2. The Banshee's Wail and the Rope Trick. We were a level 4 party trekking through a haunted forest when we stumbled into a graveyard. The DM placed 2 miniatures on the board, 2 Banshees. Now, a Banshee has an ability called Wail. Once per day, anyone who hears it has to make a Constitution saving throw. If you succeed, you take a little damage. If you fail, you instantly drop to 0 hit points. No matter how much health you have, you are dying. The first Banshee wailed. Our Barbarian rolled a 4, our Warlock rolled a 2, our Cleric rolled a natural 1. In a single action, 3 out of our 5 party members hit the dirt, bleeding out. It was just me, a Bard, and our Ranger left. Then, the second Banshee wailed. The Ranger failed. I was the only one who passed the save. I was a squishy level 4 Bard surrounded by 4 dying friends and 2 angry floating undead spirits. I had no area of effect healing spells. If I healed one person, the Banshees would just kill them again. I had exactly 1 action before the Banshees moved in to finish the job. I looked at my spell list, and I saw a 2nd level spell, Rope Trick. It's a weird utility spell where you touch a piece of rope, it shoots up into the air, and creates an invisible extra-dimensional portal at the top that lasts for an hour. Nothing can attack across the threshold of the portal. I cast it. A 10-foot rope shot up into the air. But I couldn't just leave my party, so using my movement, my action, and my bonus action, I started grabbing my unconscious friends by the collars. Because they were halflings and gnomes, and I was a Goliath bard with insane strength, the DM ruled I could carry them. Over the next 2 terrifying rounds, I just tanked hits from the Banshees, taking massive necrotic damage, while literally bench pressing my dying party members up this magical rope and shoving them into the invisible pocket dimension. I got the 4th one in, and I had exactly 2 hit points left. As a Banshee lunged at me, I pulled myself up into the portal and pulled the rope up behind me. The portal closed from the outside. We were sitting in absolute silence in this magical 5-by-5-foot floating room. I spent the next 10 minutes doing mundane medical checks to bandage their wounds so they wouldn't bleed out. We waited out the full hour, dropped back down when the sun came up, and ran for our lives. The DM said he was fully prepared to write our obituaries. Story 3. Baggage Claim in Freefall. This next TPK escape involves an airship, a ticking clock, and a blatant disregard for claustrophobia. Our DM was running a steampunk-style campaign, and we were passengers on a massive luxury airship flying 10,000 feet above a jagged mountain range. During the night, a cultist cell ambushed the ship. We fought them off the deck, but their leader did the unthinkable. He threw a magical bomb directly into the ship's buoyancy engine. The engine shattered. The ship immediately pitched downward, entering a terrifying freefall. The DM put a physical sand timer on the table and said, "You have exactly 3 rounds before this ship hits the mountains. What do you do?" Panic erupted. We had 6 players and 1 essential escort NPC, 7 people total. Our sorcerer screamed, "I have the Featherfall spell. I can slow our descent." But then we read the spell description. Featherfall only targets up to 5 falling creatures. There were 7 of us. Someone was going to have to be left behind to die. The table went dead silent as we tried to figure out who was going to sacrifice their character. But our artificer, who was usually the quietest guy on the table, slammed his hand down. "Who has the bag of holding?" I tossed it to him. A bag of holding is a magical satchel that's bigger on the inside, used for carrying heavy loot. The artificer looks at the fighter, the NPC, and myself and yells, "Get in the bag!" We were confused, but we didn't have time to argue. We dove headfirst into the canvas sack. Now, the rules for a bag of holding state that living creatures inside it only have 10 minutes of breathable air before they start to suffocate, but falling 10,000 feet with Featherfall only takes about 2 to 3 minutes. The sorcerer cast Featherfall on himself, the artificer, the cleric, and the ranger. The artificer tightly strapped the bag of holding containing 3 full-grown adults to his chest. The ship crashed into the mountains below us in a fiery explosion, but our 4 visible party members floated gently down to the snowy peaks like Mary Poppins. The second the artificer's boots touched the ground, he ripped the bag open and dumped us out. We all tumbled into the snow, gasping for air, but completely unharmed. We bypassed a horrific moral dilemma by treating ourselves like carry-on luggage. Story 4. The T-Rex Taxi Service. We were level 8 and we made a massive mistake. We were trying to sneak through an underdark cavern and stumbled directly into a mind flare colony. Before we could retreat, the Elder Brain sensed our presence. 4 mind flayers, illithids, teleported into the room, surrounding us. If you don't know, mind flayers eat brains. Their signature move is the Mind Blast, a psychic wave that stuns you. Once you're stunned, they attach their tentacles to your head and use Extract Brain, which is instant death. Round 1, the Mind Flayers blasted us. Because it targets intelligence saving throws, and we were a party of beefy martial classes, 4 of our 5 party members failed instantly. They were stunned, frozen in place. The Mind Flayers were walking up to them, tentacles writhing, preparing to feast on the next turn. I was playing a druid, and by sheer luck, I rolled a natural 20 on my save, so I wasn't stunned. But I was alone, and I couldn't drag 4 paralyzed bodies out of a cave before the aliens ate them. I needed a distraction, and I needed transport. I looked at our paralyzed 6'4" Goliath Barbarian. I used my highest level spell slot and cast Polymorph on him. The rules of Polymorph state you assume the hit points and the mental stats of the beast you turn into. I turned our stunned Barbarian into a colossal T-Rex. Instantly, the stun effect broke because the T-Rex has a different stat block. More importantly, a T-Rex has an intelligence score of 2. The Mind Flayers tried to use their psychic abilities on it, but the DM ruled that the dinosaur's brain was so primal, so entirely devoid of complex thought, that their telepathic manipulations barely bothered it. It was just a giant, angry lizard. I used my bonus action, Speak with Animals, to yell at the T-Rex, "Put us in your mouth and run!" The Barbarian turned T-Rex scooped up my druid and the 3 paralyzed party members in its massive jaws, very gently, taking care not to chew, and sprinted full speed down the tunnel. The Mind Flayers tried to stop us, but a T-Rex has 136 hit points. It just tanked